We're going to see today, guys, database review. Is class for me, Javier Grant. I'm a professional poker player, also a coach. Yeah, I live in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. You can contact me here in Legal Skate on Instagram. It's the page I use the most. It's mostly Spanish, but yeah, you can contact me here. Um, what's going to be the point of this session? This is a comprehensive approach to analyzing your poker database to identify and fix leaks. So in poker is a game of information. So the more information we have on our game and also in the population, we can pinpoint where are doing good things, when are we doing things that are not so good, and with that we can develop a plan to improve the overall game. We're going to use as an example a student who is a student is pretty interested in applying in the near future. So we can use this example to see how the data is really important to make a pretty good strategy to find a plan to study, because one of the most common questions that I have is like how I study poker. So if we have a database in which with that database we can see exactly what are the mistakes that the student are making and how big are those mistakes in terms of EV and money, and then create a plan based on this. So for example, if the player is under defending the big blind, or the player is under check raising, we're talking about like the students a little bit more not so advanced, but a little bit more advanced. If not, the common spot is preferred ranges. So we try to make this a study plan where the student can use like a logic approach of how the ranges are constructed, why the ranges are constructed, and yeah, have to have this open-minded that in MTTs the preferred ranges are pretty elastic. So having like a good data approach of the game with a logic approach of the game is like the most effective way, in my view, to create a good strategy, and a strategy that make us money in the long term, and with not too many strings, hopefully. So yeah, the modern game demands a lot of data-driven approach. I don't know if you see, guys, the if you watch the movie Money Play, I think it's called. It's about the Boston Red Sox and the guy who made them champion. It's kind of analogy, but it's a little bit more direct. The poker and the baseball has a lot of analogies in terms of how to use data. For example, in baseball, the story of the data is really important. Like to see where the pitcher is pitching, or where is the strong point of the hitter, or whatever. It's the same thing in poker. So we want to have this thing that happened, or these game trees that happen a lot, and have a way to know how to study, uh, metrics to get in, and how to apply on game in a logical way, because volume is really important in poker, and we don't want here in standard banking to have players that just memorize the stuff. We want players that have like logic, to have try to use the information and try to develop a good strategy, but based mostly on logic. And yeah, so this is what I was talking about, like identify your biggest leaks. The database is going to do that. It's really important to not to have the ego involving in this process, because sometimes it's hard for the student, like when we're trying to match the metrics of really good players with players that haven't had too many coach, or a high quality coach. So it's like, okay, you're doing this bad, you're doing this bad, you're doing this bad. So you have to take the ego aside, and try to see with this open minded, okay, how can I try to get to these numbers in a good way, and try to mimic the game of better players, and then also using the logic and whatsoever. But this is the most important thing. Also, it's really important to emphasize here that the metrics, for example, we're trying to get to see betting out of position, I don't know, like 40%, something like that. Or we're trying to get to see bet in position like 85%. But then is the next process. The next process is, okay, you're getting to the metric. Now let's see the combos you're choosing. So it's important to see that, okay, the database review is really important to get the metrics, but after we get the metrics, we now see how the player is playing and see, okay, you're getting the metrics, but in the wrong way. So we have to identify now the logical and theoretical problems of the game. So this is pretty good. So yeah, we can get like high leverage spots like where playing are under defending, that players are playing like pretty bad, stuff like this. And also we can have like a progressive improvement path. We're going to see that. How can we do that with a database analysis of one of these students that I'm going to use as an example. So this is also you hear me a lot saying about logic. Logic is really important in the game. It's a mathematical, logical mathematical game. Um, this is, I mean, this is the thing of we're going to play GTO, we're going to play exploitative. In the larger scheme of things, the most effective way of seeing the game is under the light of what is called game theory. It's not game theory optimal. Game theory optimal is the simulation of two computers playing each other, trying to get to an equilibrium because the poker is a sum-zero game. But we're playing versus humans. So we also have to develop this strategy of, okay, we're not trying to exactly play GTO. We want to use the concept of GTO, develop a logic, and then use what is called the game theory. Game theory is a mathematical branch which includes human interactions, includes psychological stuff, includes all of this stuff. And poker is a pretty complex game. That's why it's like a psychological warfare, where there's a lot of stuff going on. So having like a logical approach, solid theory, but not try to just make me, okay, I'm going to play GTO just because it's impossible. I mean, it's impossible to get to GTO. So with these metrics, we're not trying to get GTO. We're using principle of GTO. We're using a lot of stuff at GTO. We are also using private studies of standard backing with MTA, which is analysis of players and how to develop also not only theories on strategies, but use theory to go and do some not crazy plays, but I mean, you can get some crazy plays when you get to some specific nuts. So yeah, um, how can we work on this? Like utilizing filters. This is a pretty effective way. We're going to see that. We're going to use this with hand to nose, but basically this we have like a benchmark of how winning players play. Also, we have the benchmarks of GTO to use the how the players are winning players are using. We're going to use, so in this case we're going to use only GTO wizard, but we can use hand to node, we can use other like holder resources. I really like to work with holder resources because can give us like the strategies and solutions of tournaments that we play all time and not like the pre-select, but it's a good way to have it. Analyzing trends, we can see how can we do that, and integrating hand histories with database analysis, which is basically seeing how database reviews, I mean hand histories, and compare with database analysis. So yeah, this is the presentation. Thank you very much for being here and to put attention to this presentation. And now we're going to see these points using the database review. So I don't know if someone have a question. Let's see. No, if everything good, Bress can tell me. Okay. Yeah, since there is no questions, you can chat. Okay. If not, we're good. So we're going to do this first, like, we're going here. Like just seeing like a trend of the player, and we're going to use firstly like the HUD. So the HUD is the heads up display when we play. So this is like the first thing I do when I'm reviewing a database review. Is like just basic data. This is the BPIP, how many hands he's playing. He's playing 22 and he's raising 15 hands. So this is for me, it's pretty tight. We can go 25-18, we can go 26-19, whatever. There are different styles of play, right? And different psychology of the player, but in general, we have to go way higher than this. This is the three bet. He's three betting 7. This should be 9. So like 24-89 is going to be better. So okay, we're now see like in the study path, this guy student need to work on his preflop game, and mostly in his aggressive knot. Let's say opening more. We can now check out this uh, a little bit more specific. So I have the data here, like race first in. This is when the everybody folded, and he's on the early position. He's opening good in early position, 19%. Mid position is getting closer, 23%. We want 25, around 25. But here in the cutoff, he's 31 and he can go like 36, 35%. And in the bottom is 38 and he can go around 50, 55. Now, if we talk of the small blind, which is a hard knot, or a little bit hard, what I like to do is just sum the percentage of how much he's playing. He's limping 31 and raising 31, so he's playing 62% of the time, and this is too little. I mean, we want to have these guys playing under 5 tournament, AB, so he can go crazy. I mean, he can go play like he can justify play. I think in this level he can justify not folding from the small blind when the hand comes to him, because they're not going to do too many aggression and whatever. He's over realizing his equity. I mean, that that means that he's going to see more cards free. So, and he can bet small, and he can take the pot without too many resistance in those kind of levels. Oh, obviously there are some kind of players that we have to be aware of. That is where the game theory, not the game theory optimal, but the game theory of the game.
Ah, creo que te muteaste, Javier.
Now, do you hear me?
Ahora sí. Sí.
Thank you.
Yes.
Gracias, Samuel. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I think, yeah, I don't know why I got muted. So, sorry, guys, for that. So I was saying that with the HUD, we can pinpoint spots. So this guy, and I don't know if you get that, but what I was getting is that this player is playing 60% of the hands, and in the his level he can play like 100% of the time on the small blind and not fall anything, or mostly anything, and versus some kind of player. And my point was there that in game theory, like not in game theory optimal, but in game theory, there are some players that you can, yeah, be a little bit more tightish, but 62% from the small blind when the hand is not open is just too much. So when I see this, just seeing this is a player that for sure I'm going to start with some filter, but we're going to check some data, some more data, and not just the basic HUD. We can see the EVs. This is just 21K hands, so I just don't care. We need like a lot of hands, more than people think, but a lot of hands. So yeah, when we see the rest first in, this is pretty tightish cutoff and bottom. He can go way higher. This is 30 if you're not seeing well, and this is 38 because it might look like a little bit small, but he can go here 35, 40, and he can go 50 at least. 5 AB or lower. I did experiments and like using like the worst. I mean, like trying to open way too much, and I think like 65, 70% of the time is profitable in big micro stakes. You can get like 70 because they are not going to three bet from the big blind nor the small blind as they should, and they're not going to defend versus c bet as they should. So we can make like a lot of money. Like imagine this like a Mortal Kombat combo that is like You can use like raise it, raise it, raise it in a lot of spots, especially on micro stakes. If we're getting higher stakes, a little bit like AV10, AV15, AV20, we want to have a little bit more a little bit more careful. So this is really important to when we're playing is like know what is right, and then what are we going to exploit, because it's impossible to be an exploitable player if we don't know what's the base. So if we don't know what are we exploiting, so it's nonsense. So yeah, now we can go like deeper in the three. This, for example, cbet in position heads up, he's only cbetting 60% of the time. He can go 85, just cbet a lot. So this means to me that he's a style of player that checks a lot with second pair, checks a lot with top pair and low kicker, checks a lot on spots that where he should bet range, and stuff like this. And then he has check raise of 13%, which is good, but not so good. I mean, he can go to 25, 20, 21, but with this like this style of player, I can imagine his check raise to be around 7. Uh, but he's check raising a little bit, so this is good. But yeah, like this is like the first framework of review the database. Just how are the RFIs, how is the three bets in general, how's the C bets, and how is the situation that happens a lot. So I like to review a lot like the RFIs and the C betting position heads up because happens a lot. For example, raise from the bottom and we're facing the big line, raise from the cutoff and we're facing the big line. So this is a high frequency spot and we want to play the high frequency spot as well as possible. So here, what I did is I have several filters. So for example, I have this filter which is button is still opportunity. When he raises, he's making money for sure. But I did this, I marked some hands. What I did is like, how I did this, I use preflop action, check out his, well, it's going to be easier if I do like this. I check out his folds and then pick the hands that he's not raising and he should raise. So as an example, there's a lot of them, but I mark this, which are hands that we can see in game. And yeah, for example, this situation where he with king X, he can open here 2X or whatever, do something. Here again with 37 big blinds, this is a clear open. And as I stated before, he can go even like queen 5-0 in this spot. Probably this is like bottom range, but in these levels, this guy, sorry, has to three bet like hands like king 5-0 or ace deuce or jack 7-0, stuff like this, that they're not going to do that. So, and also if a flop comes like king 7 deuce, he has to check raise, some backdoors, some stuff like this, and so we can do the raise here and see it. It's going to be profitable. Here again, 65 big blinds. This is like kind of bottom-ish of the range, but again, we can go here. All the suited kings, even with 30, we can go here min raise. It's close also to shove, not so close to shove, but we can go min raise fold, and with this stack we're going to get a lot of respect, but not just fold. Here again, shove, raise, do something. So if I start to find a lot of these hands, this means not only that might be a little bit of overfolding, but also like disconnect from the game or is not putting attention or whatever. So also that we can see, look, okay, are you playing with Netflix on? You're seeing the cell phone where we're playing, because there's stuff that we can't get to fold. Like for example, this is a clear shove. We can't be folding these kind of hands. Here now he's raising, so all good. Okay, probably this is a seared range and he check. Yeah, this is the other filter. So we have now a clear framework of how the player is playing and how to study. So for example, if we want to study here, we can go like trainer GTO. We can use Equilab. We can ask to some player to give us something, some ranges or whatever, and a quick way to see it is like use like GPV, like footage. We go here. We go like, for example, bottom strategy when is folded to him, and we open 51%. We can use other scenarios. For example, what happened if we are in a PKO, we start in the tournament, and we are covering everyone. We can open 62% of the time. What happened if we're in bubble of the tournament and we're covering everyone? We can open 71% of the time. What happened if we are like 30 blinds, bottom raise, and big blind defend? He has to 3-bet these kind of hands that they're not going to do in a high frequency. Um, Again, what happened if we are deep in a tournament, 3 table left, the big blind is with 21 big blinds, and we raise. Sorry. Okay. No. Okay. He has to defend this, and he has uh, to start preventing these kind of hands. Low kings, low queens, low jacks. Players are not doing this, are overfolding this. So especially in those levels, so we can see a lot of raise betting going on here, and it is going to be pretty good. Now, we're going to go to another filter that I create, which is see bet opportunity heads up. So he has the opportunity to see bet, and he decides to check. As we saw before, this player is checking a lot. So when we see that he's checking this, we can see that he's clearly missing the heuristic of the C betting spots on the flop. So this is all a topic we're going to talk about in future lessons, which is the reasoning to be betting, mostly without talking about GTO, whatever is going to be if we have range advantage, if we need protection, or if we have value. So if you ask these 3 questions and you have 2 yeses, it's a bet. So for example, here I have range advantage. Yeah, this is pretty good. Do I need protection? Yes. And what kind of hand can I fold? Like king 4 of diamonds. I mean, king 4 of spades. King 4 of diamonds probably defense, but versus small bet, but people are going to overfold. So if we fold this kind of hands like 6-5 or 10, 10-4-0, 10-4 shoot it without backdoor, whatever, it's pretty good for our range and for our hand. So yeah, this is a clear C bet, and now yeah, we are in a pretty tough position. Here again, same thing. This is a spot where we can bet small. We have all aces, king, queens, jacks, tens, a lot of stuff. So the question will be range advantage. Yeah, we have range advantage. Deny equity. We want to deny equity for sure. Like any combo, like 8-4 of clubs, something like that. Because it has equity versus our hand, and we want to like make money with this hand or make the pot bigger. No, so we have 2 out of 3. So yeah, we bet here again. So yeah, now in this is a pure disconnection of the game. So this is pretty important to get fixed if you want to be like yeah, to be in the game. So here, same thing. He can bet here, and without talking about like different strategies or split sizes or whatever, this is a pretty good hand just to bet small. Also, bets big is pretty good and whatever, but just betting is going to be okay. 9s, 3x, okay, this is not good. This is good, and yeah. So yeah, this is other hand where he bets. Now, this is a hand where he has to check. He wants to all the flush draws to get there. He wants to all the backdoors to get there. He wants to 7x to repeat and let him get equity. So yeah, just check here, and we have the SPR to go all in on the river, and we don't need protection or anything. So yeah. So what's the the plan with this student? Okay, get in with the ranges, pre-flop ranges, especially when it's folded to you, and then get the basic dynamics of the c-betting pretty clear, and start using those questions. Why I like those questions before I start using solver, because those questions make you think in what is most important at first. Is like, do we have range advantage? And this make us think outside our hand, because the most common mistake is players are so focused on their hand and they're not thinking on how the range is constructed. And if they are not thinking on how the range is constructed, it's really hard that they think how the opponent range is constructed. And the higher the level of the game is, the more specific and more in tune we want to be with those kind of stuff. So this is why the game is so hard and there's so many levels. And yeah, and the better player are just way too good with the small details, as as I saw too. Okay, this is pretty good. So yeah, probably this is a hand where he could bet turn. This is a pretty good to bet turn. Yeah, he checks. So again, this is like a clear indication that the post flop game has pretty logic flaws. So here in this spot on the turn, we're not talking about like session of the turn, but on the turn we want to categorize our hand if it's a good hand, mid-strength hand, or a low hand. The lower the hand, well, sometimes, I mean, the lower the hand we bluff on the turn, the best hand is to bluff on the river, is one of the heuristics. But also we want to, here on the turn, we want to ask ourselves if this card is good for us or for the villain. This is indifferent. And then what type of range are we targeting here, and what type of incentive our hand has. So our hand is a bluff, basically. In the range is pretty low. It still is pretty good because with a queen we can get straight. And what kind of range are we attacking? We are attacking all the fours. If we are attacking ace highs, if we can fold here some queen highs, for example, queen eight of hearts, that is defending and now it's folding, is pretty good. So we get a lot of better hands to fold. Yeah, so this is like the logic, and yeah, he can improve this. So yeah, pocket deuces, we saw pocket deuces now, I think. Yeah, just a couple of hands more. We're going to check it out pretty fast. Okay, this again, range bet. Range advantage, yeah. Protection, yeah. What hand that we want to protect? 9-3 of diamonds, because 9-3 of diamond has equity versus deuces. So yeah, we want to protect this. If we have ace king, do we need protection? No, but we have range advantage and we have value. If we have sevens, we have range advantage and we have value. If we have jack 10, we have range advantage and we need protection from hand like queen x, something, stuff like this. So this is a pretty important concept to develop, and then we can start seeing a little bit more theory, like how the sizes are splitted and all that. But yeah, the first thing is to get like a pretty solid strategy. And yeah, one more here again, range bet. Here range, and now we're getting like pretty difficult trees. This is really good. And here again, this is a bluff. On the river, as a example, on the river is the card where there's no equity. So when we talk about bluffing on the flop or bluffing on the turn, is not exactly true, because it's still equity to be distributed. The where we are bluffing or we are value betting is on the river. So we want to, on the river, just to imagine like this heat map of, commonly on GTO Wizard, we can see this a little bit fast. There's like this heat map where you see where is the worst cards. Commonly is going to see as red and the heat map, and this is the belly bluff, and this probably is one of our worst cards. And if we can pinpoint some better hands that would fold, but fold to the bet, is pretty good. So, for example, like 5-9 of clubs is folding, king 5 of hearts is folding, 4-5 of spades is folding, and all those hands are calling on the flop. So, and he didn't dunk on the turn, so he doesn't have too many tens, and then he didn't dunk on the river, so probably he has like mid-string hand or some weak diamond. But if we bet like six, 5 lines, is going to work pretty good. So let's see like how a heat map works. Let's go into this, like for example, no, we're not going to use ICM. We're going to use TPP, and we're going to use like this AI intelligence. Let's start like with a queen. Queen six deuce. We have a range bet mostly. We're going to check. Now we're going to use the AI. So yeah, no check, zero check. This is because all our hands have disincentives. Probably is going to be 25. Yeah. So yeah, we go here. Jack 9, range advantage. Yeah, we can see here on equity. Protection. Yeah, we can fold queen highs. I mean king highs, or any card that has some equity. And value, we don't have value. But queen 8, we have value and we don't need protection. So yeah, these are examples. Here uses this value. 3 is need protection, 4 needs protection, 5 needs protection, 6 value, and this is like so on. So we're going to go like example like this. He calls, then we got on the turn. There's a king. Let's not get to the flush draw. Sorry. Let's go here. He checks. Now he's going to bet these kind of hands. For example, then 9, Jack 9, and he's going to check like most middle string hand like ace queens and some ace tens. Ace jack is like indifferent, but he prefer to bluff like ace threes than ace six, obviously, or ace eight. And prefer to bluff like jack 7 than a7, for example. The lower, the better, and trying to unblock small pairs. So this is why 5-4 is not that good, and 7-5 is not that good, and all that because we're like just trying to tackle of small pairs and so on. Because if we see the bet, we see a lot of 5, 4, 3. So this kind of 7-6. So this is why like betting like this kind of hands is not that good, but this is a little bit more so on advanced, but we're going to get to the heat map, sorry. And we're going to close the action with a 9 of clubs. And for example, how I use the heat map. So this is a heat map. So this, you can see that green is pretty good, yellow is good, and red is bad. Why the big blind doesn't have red? Because he's in that 3 where he has a lot of strong hands who are trapping on mid strong hands. And the cutoff is going to have this distribution. He's going to have the weak aces as pretty bad, these kind of hands as pretty bad, and this kind of hands. And here what we want to do, also this is pretty advanced, and as advanced I don't consider myself expert, because yeah, it's pretty interesting to see like super high level players thinking on this kind of spot and how precise they can be and with the logic and all that. But we can start thinking that the good bluffs are going to be the red ones, and the red ones then that unblock to calls and folds. So this is like the idea, probably to having like jacks. I think is not going to be pretty good, nor 10, but I think this is going to be pretty good. This is something I like to do when I'm studying. If I'm wrong, yeah, it's probably I can be wrong a lot of the time. If not, this is like, okay, I'm thinking, well, but this is like a way to think. And he's bluffing everything. He's bluffing like all the red. He's not not checking this. He's going to bluff. This is such a good run out that yeah, he's going to bluff, and this is the middle cards, and the giveouts are going to be yeah, with tens, but not precisely like the worst ones. And also the value obviously is going to be aces and all that. And we can see also like with the heat maps that the yellow is going to be clear checks here. So this is how we can work the heat maps, and yeah, this is the good bluffs, like the red. Where hands we're bluffing, and this is how can we use also like heat maps to review our game and review all the stuff. But we're going to get here like pretty deep in depth on the threes, right? With the spots are a little bit more difficult, like choosing exactly the best bluffs and whatsoever. As a simplification, and like I could say, like in a lot of ABs, if you are red here, just bluff. It's pretty hard to get the defense. Now we can talk about high card bluffing situations and low bluffing situation, but in general, if we are red, if we are in the heat map of red, or if we are in the lower part of the range, it's a pretty good idea of bluff. Okay, so yeah, this is a way of how to study with heat maps. Also, how to study practice ranges. Um, for example, here in GTO Wizard, something that we can use is just like for this student, we create like a plan, like use footage, ICM, and then just drill this spot, big blind. But I'm sorry, and the star is raised or not, and we can go more specific and then go hands. Oh yeah, this is a filter I did. Sorry, so yeah, like going like this and try to pinpoint this part of the range that the player is folding and try to get him here. And if he make a mistake, let's hope the mistake is around the mistake is around the three of over raising and not over folding. So yeah, this is a way of practice, and then also we can go to a trees whatsoever, and these spots is hard. I mean, with the small blind, these are other frequencies, and also we can study these in this way, like general frequencies, and of how we can get the general frequencies some spots. This is something I like to do also in Wizard. You can go here, and you can go, for example, cutoff versus big blind and run reports. So this is like pretty good study. This is going to tell you like what are the best flops, sorry, to bet, what are the worst, and the best thing is to come here with an heuristic of why. So for example, best paired board, dry boards because our range is pretty strong, and the worst connected, and this makes pretty logic. And if we are betting not too much, our size go big. So this is a way to develop heuristics. So the player in questions need to open more and start to study and drill this stuff. And also like the theory, like knowing why we are checking these spots and betting big and how to develop a range here and why are we betting in other spots like a lot. Is going to help a lot. Then we can go like other threes, like small blind or whatever. But this is going to be pretty important because this is a high frequency spot, and he needs to study like high frequency spots because he want to, I mean, together. So for applying to standard backing, I will let him know. Sorry, that practice a little like 3 months. I'm not the head coach of like the people like accepting, but like uh, what I would say is that him to work like 3 months trying to get these RFIs 35 50, this combination that is the not fall less than 82 83, and this CVET goes around 80. If the player can work on this in 3 months or 2 months and then send a similar sample, it seems like he's putting volume and he's changing his strategy pretty fast. This is a pretty good like signal that this is a player that can improve his game and can adapt and whatever. So this is like the most effective way together. Then we review the, like for example, the frequencies. Like okay, you get 52% of the time on the bottle. Now let's see what combos are you opening, and then we get this strategy even better. And yeah, this is how to develop a game plan. This is how to develop a study plan. How to use tools like GTO Wizard. It's pretty good in standard banking because you can get access to these tools. And yeah, and close follow-up of coaches that will let you know when you're deviating or what's happening, and give you advice like, okay, open more, play more, less tables, focus on this, focus on that, and study this, study that, and this is the, the best way, in my opinion, to develop a solid strategy, and also like a mathematical, logical strategy. So yeah, this will be it. So I don't know if you have any questions, anything, or yeah, this is it. If no, okay, let's see, let's see. Okay. Yeah, for sure. I use several filters. I have with blinds, I have three bet opportunity, big blind defense, big blind versus eight. This is basic, right? Because I also do my own filters as it needs in the game. But this is like when I study in database review, this is the most I use, because there the focus, or where the mistakes happens the most. Button two bet opportunity. This is to call versus raise. Button steal opportunity. C bet out of position opportunity. Call versus three bet. C bet out of position heads up. C bet call to bet. Pardon, sorry. Call to bet is call to the raise. C bet opportunity in general. C bet out of position. Cut off steal opportunity. This is the GG. Pro bet opportunity. Pro bet turn. Rave MP AP if the player is under opening these positions. Small blind raise pre if the player is under raise in the small blind, or just to check out this small raise. This is bad. This is the good one. No, this is when they raise, and this is the opportunity. A small blind is still opportunity. This is the is bad, and this is good. This is a squeeze opportunity, turn C bet, check raise opportunity, check raise opportunity from the big blind. This is like the basic filter I use. And then if I want to create filters, more advanced filters, I'll go here, action opportunities, what I need here, or if on the flop, or is on the turn, more text or hand values, details, etc., etc., etc. And we can go pretty deep here. We can go pretty deep, but in general, this is the ones I use when I'm reviewing database review, because this is mostly the mistakes that happen the most, let's say. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's see, what can we do? If I can upload it to the Discord of standard backing, let's say, how can we do that? Yeah, it's pretty important. Tech raise is a pretty important topic. Yeah. So yeah, if not, this will be for today for me, and I'm going to probably to the beach, and yeah, play tomorrow. So yeah, hopefully if your guys are playing, have a good look. And yeah, if you're interested, yeah, to apply in standard banking, I think it's there are pretty good coaches. There's a pretty good system. And yeah, you can work with me. Yeah, I can check out your data and see how can we work and what to improve. And yeah, use filters and all that stuff. So yeah, thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you, Sandra Backing. See you soon. I think they're going to send you, we're going to talk about, I think, so ABCs, so post flop, whatever, going to be pretty cool. And yeah, we can check it out, some filters and whatever. So yeah, guys, be good. Good luck at the table, and see you soon. Bye.